My name is Dylan Nightweaver. I was born and raised in Boulder, Colorado, and I went to Syracuse from 2019 to 2023. I was a musical theater major, and I am currently playing Elder Price in the Book of Mormon. Yeah, this has been a long time coming. This show I saw on Broadway when I was 13, and I guess 2 years ago now in March, saw a breakdown for the show online. I had a friend who kind of convinced me to audition. He had been with the tour, and then he was on Broadway with it, and so it kind of was this perfect storm. It all came together, and yeah, here I am 2 years later. I'm currently leading the tour. I'm not full-time Elder Price, but these few months I am, and I'm so incredibly excited to be playing Elder Price at the Landmark Theater in Syracuse. It's going to be a really full circle moment coming back to Syracuse after a couple years, but I'm incredibly excited to be back in Syracuse.
It's got to be full circle for you. Just seeing the show, saying, I'm
Oh,
going to be in it, and now you're in it.
so cool. It's I try whenever I'm like whenever the tour life gets hard, which it does. I try to just remember back to that moment, and especially when I see a younger kid in the crowd, I'm like, yes, okay, doing the show for this person tonight. And I remember being there, and every night there's at least one person who's come to see the show that is gonna hopefully have their life changed in a better way for seeing the show. So yeah. Well, you know me, I'm a big food guy, so I'm gonna be up in possibilities for sure. I always like people don't really realize how much of a food city Syracuse is, so I'm gonna be showing the cast around for sure. But Water Street Bagels, I worked at Salt City Coffee, so I'm gonna try to go back to Salt City Market, say hi to a bunch of people. Definitely go get some good coffee. But also, I'm just excited to be back in upstate New York. I love it. I'm really hoping I'm gonna try to get a car. I want to go to oh my God, Green Lakes State Park, or just go around the area. I mean, I know you guys are probably getting hammered with snow right now, but I'm hoping I'm like, okay, end of March, like sometimes you'll get like 1 week of like okay weather. So we'll see. I mean, most of my time in college, we didn't see the sun until end of April, so I might be wishing for too much, but we'll see. I love just seeing the country through kind of we bus a lot, but we also fly a lot. So I mean, but busing is probably one of my favorite things about tour, honestly. As kind of weird as it is to, you spend a lot of time on a bus, especially in the fall, we were a lot of time on the bus. It's a really beautiful kind of intimate way to see America, and like being able to see it firsthand like that. I grew up, going hiking and being outdoors was like kind of the main part of my life, and being able to see like just the countryside as you're going through, and then also you get into these cities and then you go to see these beautiful theaters. Like this is one of the things I love so much. I'm such a nerd. I take pictures of every single theater. I try to go into the lobbies and see all the lobbies. And I mean, the Landmark is one of the such a historic theater, and it's such a beautiful theater. I heard you guys just there was a renovation that was just done, so I'm incredibly excited to go see it. I actually never went in my time in Syracuse also. I've seen pictures and I had some friends who went through, but I was so busy with school I never went. But I think we often forget that like theater is still so strong in this country, and like there is such a like interest in it, and a renewed interest with like a lot of the shows these days. And Book of Mormon is such a good entrance for so many people. And so another part that I love about touring is just meeting people who, this is their first theater experience, and them being kind of blown away by it because it's such a crazy show, but it's at the core of it, it's like community is just like what brings it all together and ties it all in at the end. And I think it's really cool to meet people who see the show, and then like they'll recommend their favorite bar or their favorite spot. And especially when we're sat down in a place for a while, it's really cool to be able to kind of feel like you become a local of this place just for a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I love the nomad lifestyle. It really suits me. And as much as I miss my family and my friends and, being in New York City, but also, being in Colorado, I love being able to see it all. And I'm almost at 50 states. I'm missing a few, but this has helped me check off a lot of states on my goal to hit all 50 states. So that's also a plus of touring. There were several professors. I mean, almost all of my professors were just absolutely salt of the earth people. Pun intended for the Salt City, salt of the earth people. And I think I had a few teachers specifically. I'll try to rattle them off and say specifically what they did. But Rufus Bonds was incredible at making me understand how to connect with a piece. This was one of my first kind of like intro to musical theater, like acting through the song class. He was incredibly helpful. The funniest part is this was kind of during COVID, and he actually was living in LA, so he was our professor over Zoom. And I mean, the fact that he left such an impression off of just being over Zoom, like this is just a testament to how much of a powerhouse of a person and a teacher he is. He had a way of bringing this energy and this connection to the material out of you that was incredible. He was huge for me. David Lowenstein, former Broadway performer, staple of Syracuse stage. If you've seen a show there, you've seen him in something. He was a friend, but he was also an incredibly useful guy for specifically audition. I took an audition class and a musical theater rep, like scene class basically with him. But specifically the audition class was super helpful. What is going to catch the attention of the casting directors and the directors? How do you walk in, make an impression right away, get your point across, and be good and on your feet, talented, be able to think on your feet, choose a song that would be good for the moment. Um, and then probably the piece of advice that I still use every day, kind of relating to auditioning also. This was from Jim Clark. He basically was one of the founding members of the Syracuse drama department. He just retired, I think, last year or 2 years ago. One of the coolest guys you've ever met. He kept that place running, but we had an intro to kind of theater class. I can't remember the exact name, but one of the things that we would talk about was like resumes and like again auditions. And the best thing that, and I think about this more in of my just in life in general, but also in theater in general, is like what are the things you can control when you walk into a room, right? So when you walk into the audition room, you can control what's on your resume. You can control the material you've prepared. Think about like the way you look, like think about everything that you can control and then the things that you can't control. And then you can let those feelings go towards the things you can't control, and that will free up your body and your mind to just go and give the best performance you can. And I mean, there's so many more tidbits I learned over my time in Syracuse, but those three professors, I mean, they are still to this day some of the most important people in my life. And I mean, I miss them greatly. I definitely don't reach out to them enough. And I mean, all of my dance faculty also, they were just so incredibly helpful in creating the performer that I am today, for sure. I think when people think of Broadway, a lot of the times they're thinking of the national tours that came through their hometown, right? I mean, not everyone can get on a train or plane or bus and get to New York City. It offers Broadway to everyone across America. We perform to the smallest venues in West Virginia to, we'll perform at an ice rink in Montana or in Maine, like we've done that. And I think it's incredibly important to kind of just show the world that theater is still alive and well. And I think in this day and age, there is a lot of AI art and everything, and there's a lot of like fear of like what is the future of art, AI music. And I think the one thing that is safe and people are remembering is theater. And I think that it is just I feel like it's still growing to this day. Like, when Hamilton hit, I was like, okay, this is like the peak of musical theater. But like every year it feels like it's like more accessible, and social media is broadening people's ideas of theater and what theater is. And I think that touring is just it's offering anyone to go and experiment with like, okay, what is theater? And like and just be a casual enjoyer of a good show, or it can start a career. Like that's going and seeing national tours in Denver was like a huge thing for me. I saw Rent, I saw Jesus Christ Superstar, like, and that was Broadway in my mind. Of course, like I had seen Broadway shows, but that was just as Broadway as anything else. It is incredibly cool to see a packed house in Montana and a packed house in Atlanta and a packed house in LA, and all of it is just as cool and important to me. Every single show, yeah. It's really special. I mean, there's a lot of cool people we get to work with. I mean, my first year last year, this was the third season of this tour. There've been many iterations of the Book of Mormon tour, but this is the third season last year. Sorry. We had Stephen Aremus, who, is the vocal arranger for Wicked, for this show, for so many different projects. He came in and he worked with us. And I mean, you get the privilege to meet some incredibly cool, incredibly talented people along the way. And, because a lot of it is under this same kind of global IP, we get the privilege of working our director, Jen Werner. She was there at the beginning. So she's seen what it looked like, 15 years ago. She's seen it grow and change. And so she really is able to keep us within, the parameters of the show with also letting us be ourselves through it. I think it's but more so than anything, you can just tell people the Book of Mormon. You can mention to the South Park guys, and they know exactly what you're talking about. Even if they haven't seen, the Book of Mormon, they know the classic Mormon skit from the TV show that kind of launched the whole idea of it. And so it's it's really cool. I think, a lot of the time people that you tell them that you're an actor, a traveling actor, and they're like, okay, how is that? Like, are you succeeding? Are you successful? And I'm like, yes, it's like I'm actually like very grateful because this IP is so large. I'm totally like able to sustain my life as an actor through this. And I mean, it's such a blessing because this is exactly what I wanted to do when I was a kid, being able to travel and do a show, and especially this show when after I saw it when I was 13, I was like, I want to do that. I want to be in that. I want to figure out how to get there. And yeah, so it's a really special thing. And like, yeah, people kind of freak out when you tell them about it. And that's a unique feeling as an actor because sometimes they're like, "Oh, what's your other job? What's your real job?" We're in just a very special position that we are one of the premier tours that come across America right now.
The Book of Mormon, March 20th through 22nd at Landmark Theater. Tickets at BroadwayInSyracuse.com.